did a research. Mr. Speaker, since when are we going to tell researchers to give us their respondents in their research work? Mr. Speaker, if he said he conducted a research, so that means that he has respondents. So how can we compel him to mention the names? And he never said. So, Mr. Speaker, I think that you should rule them out and let the member continue, rather than the ministers and other agency head come here to give us present papers to us out of research findings and other things. We've never asked of who their respondents are. So this is a research work, and I don't think it is proper to tell him to disclose his respondents. So else it will hinder the work that he is doing, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I'm sure you know how research is conducted. It's not the same methodology or the thing that you use. And I know Dr. Stephen Amor very well, and he can answer this question. So please, let's listen to him. Yes, the 31 names, are you prepared to submit them to the information of the House? That is the request from the majority leader.
Mr. Speaker, I think one way or the other, first, before I answer, I want them to understand that I conducted that research not in mailer fide. They should understand. I did that bona fide. They should understand. So, for the good of our country, I wanted to understand. I'm coming to your question. Mr. Speaker.
No, but you have raised the issue of good faith.
Yes.
Yes, but nobody has raised that issue of good faith. So now you go to the main thing.
Because they are taking prejudicial position. They think I have bad intention. No, I was doing to support them. But Mr. Speaker, coming back to their question.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, most of my brothers here, they've done research before, or researches before. If you conduct primary research, first thing is whether your respondent is ready to own up what he said or not. So that confidentiality is a critical definitional element of any professional research.
Honorable member, you didn't tell us the type of research you conducted.
No, I said
you said
I
you did
collected
research.
primary data.
Now you are talking about primary data.
No, I said it. Mr. Speaker, no, we can check. Mr. Speaker, we can replay. I won't lie to you. And
you
it was
see,
oral. It was oral.
Honorable member, have you heard the word he has used? You heard him?
No, I said
I shall return.
Mr. I will not lie.
I shall return. You have returned. So have you heard him?
Mr. Speaker, I'm sure in your guidance, you told us that it's unparliamentary, but it will be difficult for you to implement it. That was what you said. So let's all be guided by that. Although it's unparliamentary, it's difficult for everybody to enforce it.
But you authorized the majority leader to speak for and on your behalf, which he did, that none of you should use the word. Now he has used it. What should I do to him?
Mr. Speaker, the only thing I will ask
I should forgive him.
You are
Honorable Opoin Nkrumah, are you saying I should forgive him? But you should not use the word lie. So can you withdraw and let's proceed?
You should just ask him to withdraw.
Please, kindly withdraw and then we proceed.
So, with your guidance, the word lie, I withdraw. Mr. Speaker, can I have the opportunity to continue my debate?
You want to inform us that you conducted the research under confidentiality.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, so do so, and let's proceed.
Yes, sir. Mr. Speaker, I think I said that initially. I talked about confidentiality and ethics. So thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to continue my debate. Thank you.
3 more minutes.
Yes, sir. Mr. Speaker, I think today I want us to redefine our corporate focus. as a country, especially this house. It is time we took our budget statement extremely serious. I think our brothers from the NDC should learn from us. We should understand the entire cycle of any socio-economic framework. First, you need to understand that foundation that we talk about, primary macro indicators. That's the springboard for the secondary macro indicators, which includes social intervention, agriculture, education, and all of them.
Honorable Member, just a minute. Honorable Majority Chief Whip, let's allow the... Yes, please.
Speaker, I wouldn't do this ordinarily, but my difficulty is that it's not an infra dig against my caucus. That 31 of them. Please. Why should it be so difficult for the honorable member for Isiaisu to amend that portion of the statement? Why should it be so difficult for him? So it is so difficult for my members to be described that 31 of us interviewed by him, whether true or not, it is going to the records that they gave differing answers to a single policy. So our demand is that he should withdraw. He's not willing to withdraw. And he wants to proceed, even under Speaker's directive. It is not fair to my caucus, Mr. Speaker, with all due respect. It's not fair at all to my caucus. Even with your directive, it's not willing to amend that portion of his submission so we can make peace and make progress. That's the difficulty for my caucus.
The challenge I have is that in the submission so far, there is no indication that the different answers are either wrong or right. He has not stated anything to show that they got it wrong. So it's difficult for me to insist because a policy is quite a general framework, and describing it will be different coming from different people's perspectives. And your understanding, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong.
Speaker, he said they have different understanding. So it presupposes that we don't have a coherent position on a single policy. And therefore it's a problem. That is the tangent of his submission.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the last part of the majority whip statement, those are his statements, and they are not his statements. He never said anywhere that they have given wrong meanings to it. And Mr. Speaker, you guided us enough. I don't know why he's still litigating this. You guided him enough, and he was able to tell you that it's a research work, which is confidentiality. So why would he think that he can force him to? So, Mr. Speaker, we should continue. You have already guided us on this issue. If you want to challenge your guidance, then he should pray that one day he can get to where you are. Then he can also be able to guide.
Honorable members, I am not an examiner, but I know when you give a question to students or any person, a group of people I should say, they will give different answers. Then you try to assess them to see whose answer is the best or better, or who got the lowest mark. You use marking scheme And so I find it difficult to, please, once he insists that he's not imputing any bad motives, and this not, we have to proceed. Let's oblige him.
Speaker, I'm guided, but I even doubt that he interviewed 31 of my members. I even doubt.
Well, Honorable Majority Chief Whip, that submission could be made later on by any of you. You are permitted to do so.
5 minutes.
You still have 3 minutes.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, for clarity purposes, in terms of percentage, I did just 16.5% of them. Mr. Speaker, I think I don't want to, as you have advised, but if right now we give each of them plain sheet to write, the answers will be different. Mr. Speaker, without copying, they know. So, Mr. Speaker, I'll proceed with my submission. Mr. Speaker, I would like to advise my brothers from the other side that they have 4 years. They have additional 3 budget statements as stand to be corrected. They should do their best to consult some of us. Pick budgets presented from 1992 up to now and make sure that the deviation from the standard in terms of presentation will not be more than 0.9. Mr. Speaker, a budget should be able to bring out, as I was explaining, a picture from primary macro indicators, secondary macro indicators, then move into social interventions and other things. The budget that they have here, Mr. Speaker, apart from the fact that it has exonerated the NPP government, but there's 13 figures that are mostly better and higher than 2016. Clearly, Mr. Speaker, you cannot connect the numbers to the social gains they are promising. You inherited 5.7. You are promising 4.4. All the targets they are giving, with the exception of foreign gross assets or gross foreign assets and current balance, they are giving us targets, telling Ghanaians that what we inherited, we cannot perform same. Mr. Speaker, this blows my mind.
One more minute.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. So they are telling Ghanaians that they shouldn't have any confidence in them. Mr. Speaker, it is extremely pathetic that now that things are getting better for Ghana, you are setting targets far below. It's like telling your parents that, Mama, this exam, I'll get 20%. So when you get 20, you say, Mommy, I did well. We are telling you, the economy we left for you was strong, was energetic, was fabulous, was fantastic, was growing, was stable, was resilient. If you cannot carry your weight, give it back to us. I think this approach illustrates Konongu approach. You can.
Honorable members, your time is up. Your time is up.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Is that, honorable members, we now have Honorable Thomas Ampem Jiako, 15 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have sat here and have listened to the former finance minister, the former minister of state at the Ministry of Finance, and the former deputy finance minister express their views about the wonderful budget that was presented by Dr. Kesil Atto-Forson on the instruction of President John Dramani Mahama. Mr. Speaker, this budget has been described by many Ghanaians as a very sensible budget. And the more you criticize this budget, the more you show your ignorance about what we really need to do as Ghanaians to fix your mess. Mr. Speaker, I have heard the former finance minister, and Dr. Amin Anta, please stay and listen to this. I have heard him suggest that, Mr. Speaker, we have reduced the amount of allocation that we have given to goods and services. And because of that, we do not intend to grow this economy. I was shocked to hear him say that. Because, Mr. Speaker, what he failed to realize, that yes, in 2024, they allocated 11.5 billion cedis for goods and services. We have reduced that to 6.9 billion. But they allocated 14.7 for capex. We have allocated 21 billion cedis for capital expenditure. Between goods and services and capital expenditure, which one will help the economy grow? Which one will help the economy grow? Somebody says they like chop chop. Mr. Speaker, our approach is to invest in capital expenditure to expand the productive capacity of this country. That is what will bring the growth that we need, and not goods and services. In any case, what did you spend the goods and services on? Was it not on the purchases of vehicles, computers, and others? We want to construct roads. We want to construct schools. We want to do the things that will bring the growth that we need in this country. Mr. Speaker, another thing that they have been talking about that surprises me is about the GDP growth that we have estimated at 4.4%. And they keep comparing oranges to apples. You, in your 2024 budget, you projected to grow this economy first by 2.8%. Then you revised it to 3.2%. That was your budgeted amount, the budgeted figure, the figure you projected to grow by. We have projected to grow by 4.4%. Compare apples to apples. Mr. Speaker, in the expenditure in advance of appropriation that you brought here, you projected that in 2025, we will grow the economy by 4.0%. You yourselves projected 4.0. We have even increased it to 4.4. So wait for us to end the year and compare the actuals to your actuals, and stop doing this kind of comparison. Compare apples to apples. Mr. Speaker, I am shocked at some of the statements made by the former finance minister. In fact, he came here and he is questioning the arrears figures that we have put out. And he made an unfortunate statement accusing the finance minister for cooking figures. That was very, very unfortunate. And he also mentioned that we have included figures that have not been audited in the budget. Let me refer you to your own budget, President Nanado's first budget in 2017. Paragraph 7, you stated, and I quote, page 2, paragraph 7, that is most important. Look, backbenchers, learn and stop that. Mr. Speaker, total expenditure at end December 2016 stood at 30.3% of GDP against a target of 26.4% of GDP, with an outstanding stock of arrears of nearly 7 billion cedis. This is at variance with the performance criteria on the non-accumulation of arrears for the 2016 fiscal year under the IMF-supported Extended Credit Facility Program. The question I'm asking you, was this figure audited? The 7 billion you quoted, was it audited? The answer is no. Mr. Speaker, so it is surprising that they will turn around and question figures that we have provided. Mr. Speaker, look, the finance minister stated here that we have 49 billion arrears, and that we have even decided to audit these figures. We have said that we have decided to audit it. We will be very happy if after auditing we realize that the arrears is even zero. We are not happy to pay huge arrears, but it is what it is. What the finance minister did on assumption to office was to request all MDAs to bring stock of arrears to the finance ministry. They did so. We further went to conduct a validation exercise with them, and we have stated that beyond this, we are going to audit it. You were complaining about an arrears stock of 7 billion. 8 years, you have shot it up to 49 billion. Mr. Speaker, that is not all. Apart from that, in fact, this figure does not include the 68 billion cedis owed by ECG. It does not include the 32 billion cedis owed by COCOBOD. It does not include the $1.73 billion owed to the IPPs. It does not include the 5.7 billion cedis owed by the road sector. Mr. Speaker, this is what they left us. And what is shocking, Mr. Speaker, the shocking part is what I'm going to talk about. From 7th December, when they lost power, to 7th January, when they handed over power, a period of 1 month, statistics at the Controller and Accountant General's Department shows that they made payments to the tune of 32.7 billion cedis. These people were determined to deplete the coffers before they leave office. In addition to this, the Controller and Accountant General Office is a public institution, and these are verifiable. In addition to that, bank transfer advice, BTAs, sitting at Controller to be paid is in excess of 18 billion cedis. The only reason these payments were not made because they had depleted the coffers. They wanted to pay all this. Why were you doing this? What was Ghana? Was Ghana going to die? Did you have to pay everything, deplete the coffers before leaving office? Honorable Upon Kroma says yes. This is unfortunate, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is what our people left for us. But Mr. Speaker, another worrying statement that the former finance minister made is that why have we put all these figures out there and international communities, and so what? Did you expect us to lie about, oh, I'm using lie again. Did you expect us to misrepresent data because, well, I mean, international community is listening? No. We had the responsibility to let Ghanaians know the true state of the economy so that we can carry everybody along in the attempt to reset the economy. Mr. Speaker, the former Minister of State, Honorable Abuna Osei Asare, was making statements that we did not make any provisions for social intervention programs. And I was asking myself, has she really read the budget? Because if she has, she would have realized that we have even deepened existing social intervention programs. You will realize that LEAP, we have increased the allocation to LEAP, and we have increased the beneficiaries from 350,000 people to 400,000 people. And this is something that I know Mama Pat is so happy about. We have indexed LEAP to inflation such that if inflation, as long as inflation remains positive, every year the LEAP allocation will increase. We will adjust it with inflation. Mr. Speaker, we have increased the allocation to school feeding program from 1.3 billion to 1.7 billion. In fact, the amount per child per day for feeding has been increased from 1 cedi 50 pesos to 2 Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, we have provided 242.5 million to support victims of the Akosombo Dam spilling, something you could not do. You could not do. We have made provisions for this and we will do it. Mr. Speaker, look, if you have children who are girls, maybe you are privileged and so you don't know how girls are suffering in our various schools. That school attendance reduces because of simple sanitary pad that our girls are not able to get. So when they are in that time of the month, they have to skip school. Today, President Mahama has made provision to supply free sanitary pads for our girls. Is this not a social intervention program? Is this not a social intervention program? You are members of parliament and you know the demands on you when the new academic year begins. The number of tertiary students who knock at your doors to get support to pay admission fees. Today, President Mahama says that is going to be a thing of the past. Mr. Speaker, somebody is asking how about free SHS? Look, in your 2017 budget, you demonstrated that you were clueless about funding for your own free SHS program. Paragraph 877, you said this, Mr. Speaker, we will initiate discussions with all stakeholders interested in the performance of their senior high schools in their communities. Parents, school alumni, religious organizations, the diaspora will be encouraged to establish a funding mechanism to support high schools of their choice. This will reinforce community involvement in governance and improve the quality of education in our senior high schools. Look, for you, this is how you intended to fund free SHS. And for 8 years, you couldn't find dedicated funding for free SHS. Today, President Mahama has found dedicated funding for free SHS. So you should be thankful to President Mahama for continuing some of these interventions. Mr. Speaker, I want to appeal to our friends on that side that look, I understand that you are in opposition and it is your job to offer criticisms. But you see, don't just be finding criticisms where there is none. Support a worthy cause. Support President John Dramani Mahama. Support Dr. Atuforsen. Support us to implement this sensible budget, because this is what is going to take us out of the mess that you left us. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Well, you were also left with 3 minutes. I will now grant permission to Honorable Kojo Opong Nkrumah. I have seen some asterisks here. I'm sure they were suspecting you won't be around. So they put one Honorable Koko Asante. In case you are not
Mr.
around.
Speaker, let me clarify. In fact, Mr. Speaker, to clarify that after Honorable Kojo Opong Nkrumah, on our side, it will now be Honorable Koko. So we indicated with the arrow as she was number 10, so that after Honorable Opong Nkrumah, then Honorable Koko will now come. Thank you.
So, Honorable Member, you may give your submissions now.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to make some comments on the statement before this House. It's unfortunate that the Deputy Minister for Finance has just left the chamber. We are debating the budget of the executive. The Minister for Finance is not here. His deputy was here. Right after his submissions, he's Nicodemously sneaked out of the chamber. We would have wished that he would be here to get feedback. And here is why. You know, sometimes when you are in government, you suffer from a certain disease. Any feedback that is given you, you think your job is just to defend. I was information minister. You think your job is just to defend and explain. Sometimes if you listen, you will get free advice that can help you to improve what you are doing. So it will be good that you bring him back into the chamber so that he can listen to the feedback that we are giving to him. He, for example, says that his justification for raising this 49 billion, this phantom 49 billion, is that in 2017 we mentioned arrears of 7 billion. What he forgets is that when we mentioned 7 billion, we did not proceed to adjust the fiscals with that 7 billion. We did not proceed to adjust the national accounts with that 7 billion and change the primary balance. We proceeded to say it will be audited, and thankfully, a good chunk of those claims were thrown away. What he has done differently, what he and his boss have done differently, is that they have proceeded to adjust the national accounts and adjust the primary balance for numbers that they themselves claim they have not audited. I'm happy he's coming back into the chamber. So the difference is that you have proceeded to adjust the national accounts with figures that you are confessing you have not audited. Who does that? And that is why we are telling you to hasten slowly. Mr. Speaker, he says they have indexed LEAP to inflation. He goes on to say that they have provided dedicated funding for free SHS. Honorable Deputy Minister, you did not index LEAP to inflation. The NPP government that just did indexed LEAP to inflation. You did not do it. You did not do it. Don't take credit for what you haven't done. Also, you claim there was no dedicated funding for free SHS, and you question whether the erudite Abena Osei-Asare has read the budget. I regret to inform you, you probably haven't read your own budget. You haven't read your own budget. Because if you have read your budget, you will find out that the dedicated funding for free SHS was a goods and services allocation of ABFA. Honorable Deputy Minister, ABFA. What you have done, and again, you tell the people of Ghana that you have uncapped NHIL and Get Fund. That's not true. Let me show you why it's not true. It is the Earmarked Funds Capping and Realignment Act. What that law says is that you cap 14 funds. And if you find that any fund requires its full allocation, you restore. That's what you have done. If you wanted to uncap, you know what you do? You repeal the whole legislation. Why have you not uncapped all the 14 funds? You are using the same act. And what you are doing is that you are restoring what you have now been asked to make available to them. But, Mr. Speaker, we have 4 things to share with our colleagues on the other side. And Honorable Deputy Minister, respectfully, if you listen, it will help you. The first is that your economic policy, it is not coherent with your manifesto. I have a copy of your manifesto here, Resetting Ghana, NDC Manifesto 2024. I have your economic policy here. Your economic policy is not coherent with your manifesto. I always say that agro beswa, efranopa, to wit, if the evening festivities will be exciting, the morning preparation will show. This morning preparation you've brought us shows us that the evening festivities will be nothing to write home about. You told us between pages 3 and 22 of your manifesto that your economic program, Honorable Deputy Minister, let me have your attention. You told us that your economic program will be built on 3 foundational pillars: the economic transformation agenda, the economic recovery program, and the 24-hour economy. Right at the dispatch box, your boss, the finance minister, has admitted that the 24-hour economy part of it, they are not ready to even lay it before this house. Sunday, you brought in Mr. Guzitando to do an informal presentation, and he himself admitted that he has some further work to do, and then he will bring it here. You have brought us an economic policy. The economic recovery program, that's the foundation. The economic transformation agenda, that's the foundation. The 24-hour economy, that's the foundation. You have not finished preparing it. Who built the first floor when they haven't built the foundation? Which contractor built the first floor when they haven't built the foundation? And let me show you the effect. That is why when we go into your economic policy, there's no coherence with your manifesto. You made 273 economic promises in your manifesto, 273 of them. If we prorate your 4-year period, each year you should be doing about 68 of them. Do you know how many of your economic promises you have responded to in this first economic policy? Do you know the number? I'm not sure you have read the budget. You haven't counted. You have only responded to 25 of your economic promises. Mr. Deputy Minister, that is just about 36%. If you continue at this rate, by the time this year is over and by the time your tenure is over, you will be doing less than 20%. And let me tell you why. Because even when you roll out programs as government, not all of it succeeds. I've told you that we've been in government before. The NPP in the first year rolled out free SHS, 1D, 1F, 1 village, 1 dam. Even those ones that we started early, look at the challenges that we faced. And so, Honorable Deputy Minister, we are drawing your attention, this is free feedback to you, that you need to find more coherence between your economic policy and your own manifesto. Else, by the time your tenure is done, you would have disappointed yourself.